Back in the garage again, working on the supercharged Grand Cherokee. Today, or at least tonight, it's probably not going to get done till tomorrow night, but I'm going to get started on making the intake and moving this. I want the filter to be right here, and since that air box isn't doing anything, I'm going to put this or a bottle over there. It might be zip tied in for now, but it'll work. So I'm supposed to go full wheeling Saturday, so I don't want to suck any dirt or mud up in there. Let's get to it. We're going to be using a piece of the 3/8 that I have left from building the blower plate. It's a little extra heavy duty for what its job is going to be, but it's going to be fine. So I've eyeballed, measured with this thing because I left my calipers at work. The bolt center is 5 1/8. Center to center on the bolts for this. I'm going to bolt it here, and that's all it's going to catch is these two bolts. And then I'm going to have a little support coming off the tube going to here. That should be plenty. This used to hold a big cast iron piece. Or not cast iron, cast aluminum piece. And that's why I used all 4 bolts. Because it was big. I mean, there was a diverter valve heading over that way. Throttle body was probably all the way over here. So it had reason to have all those bolts. And it'd probably be nice to have more, but it's going to be fine. This is kind of what I got, just sticking this ruler on the back side of the supercharger there. I'm going to go ahead and drill these out. That's our mounting holes, and this is a rough estimate of what it's going to look like. You know, it's nice and round on the blower, so my plan is to get this and be conservative, and then when I get it bolted to it, I can kind of take a pick on the back side. Probably take one that's a 180, go on the back side and scribe it while it's bolted to the blower. And then I'll have my perfect line, and then I'll be able to finish it up. Oh, I'm going to get the drilling. Got some WD-40 here to make it a little easier. But what I'm going to do is hole saw all these holes, but I'm not going to go all the way through them yet. I'm going to get this one most of the way, this one most of the way, this one most of the way, so that once I get, in, it'll kind of help hold itself center, so that I can get the bulk of it. So if I break through and it won't hold center on this anymore, it's close enough I'll be able to punch it out and just clean it up with a grinder. Here it is scribed out. So I did alright with my sizing. I could have went bigger, but I was afraid if I missed, that it'd be more of a pain in the butt to put that metal back than it would to take it out. So now it's time to get the die grinder out. I'm actually going to do that at work, where there's a big air compressor and my better die grinders are and better bits. So we're going to move forward to this. This is a 3.5 inch tube. That's, this is nowhere near necessary. For whatever reason, I thought the 3-inch looked small when I was mocking that steel piece up. So this is what we got now. It's going to work. Being too big is not a problem. Too small is. So I'm going to bolt that back up, move that, and get to mocking this up. Another problem we're going to have is that my plan was to oval this somehow. I'm still not sure how well it's going to go. On my Dodge, I used a LT1 throttle body and a 4-inch pipe, and trying to get it ovaled out to match the throttle body, because if you don't know, the throttle body on the older LT1 is an oval. It's not even like a perfect oval, it's this weird shape. But it deformed the pipe, and it worked. I made it work, but it was by no means perfect. So I'm sure that this will also be by no means perfect, but it will work. This is the first cut. I think it's actually going to be the last cut. I think this is going to work out just fine. I may have to shorten this leg so the filter's not so far up in here, but that angle is going to work. I got clearance on everything, so I got to mark the angle of this way, the degree, and then I've got to try to oval that thing to match, which is going to be a pain. And I may not go crazy perfect. I might just get it good enough as long as it's on the plate. But I don't want to build one again. I want this one to be just one and done. I don't want to really hack it on there, because then I'll always be like, well, I'm going to do it again one day, but better. And then one day never actually comes, so. I want to put the camera down and get the marking, and get it mocked up in the vise. I don't actually have a vise. I've been using the vise on my bandsaw, which is a real pain in the butt because it has no teeth and it rotates, so you get some pressure on it and it'll just spit the pipe out. But that's what we got, so that's what we're going to use. Well, you see what I mean by the weird shapes trying to bend that? I actually grabbed this with some pliers and peeled it back, and it did split, so I'm going to fill that with weld. Now, here's the hole I'm covering. It's still not quite wide enough, but I'm just going to go with it. It'll be alright. Where this is bigger than that, when I take it to work, I'm going to weld the tube on now. And when I take it to work, I'll grind this out as far as I can, and then I'll kind of, you know, smooth that transition as much as you can with only this 3/8 plate. But on that, on the engine this was on before, it made like 15 pounds of boost, or at least the engine did in my Ranger. I'm only pushing 5 to 8. I'm not spinning it anywhere near as fast, so I'm not worried about the limits of this. What I said before about being able to move this out, that's kind of going to be pointless with this intake. Now that's why I went with a 3.5. Now I'm sure I can get an oval pipe that's just a little over 90. I got a U-bend just so I'd have a little bit over center. But I'm sure they make it, and if I ever actually want to do this again, I guess that's the way I'll go, just so I can get away with this. But that's why I went 3.5, because if I went any smaller, this would be, I mean, the pipe would be right here. So I'm gonna get this mocked up again, get it tacked on, and then we'll look at it. Well, there it is. It's just tacked right now. Let's make sure I got clearance. I've got clearance everywhere. The filter's just kind of sitting on there. The engine shouldn't torque over that much, and I can always shorten this and scoot the filter out. But it's on there. And I was able to get it a little wider here to cover more. I'll show that in just a second when I pull it back off. Tightest spot is over here on the computer. But filter's actually sitting on there a little crooked. So when I straighten it up, it'll kick forward. But that's gonna work. Be ready to go play in the woods. Get that off of there and get to welding. It's all fully welded now. I was able to get this shape a little better on the pipe where I ovaled it. I was a little happier with it, and I was able to almost go full width on the port. So I'm going to bolt it up, check it one more time, and then I think I'm going to paint it with this bed armor crap. I think this is what I used on my Dakota, and it gives it kind of a, I don't know, not factory look, but an aftermarket, like a good quality aftermarket look. I'll show you what the one on my Dakota looks like. Kind of get your opinions on it, maybe give you some ideas. We'll bolt it on one more time, just to make sure we got it right. Got plenty of room on everything. I hope the engine mounts aren't that worn out. I've got room. I've got at least an inch. Closest it is right there on the end. Oh, it's sitting on all the way. I got about an inch everywhere, so if it rocks over enough, I'm going to end up putting some good mounts on it. So replace these factory ones with something a lot tougher. So I'm going to go pop the hood on the Dakota, show you the finish on that, and then I'm going to get the scuffing this up so I can paint it too. This is the Eaton M122 on my 5.9 Dakota RT. But this is how it turned out. Now, it was fairly tough, except for this rubs the hood in some spots. But I like the way it looked. So, I'm going to do that to this one too. Didn't turn out exactly like the other one did. It might have been, I think it was a different brand. Also, temperature-wise, it's a little cooler now. I did the Dakota in the summer. So this thing was kind of pumping out some big globs. And it was a real pain in the butt. But it's black, so we'll throw it on there. Finished product. I'm curious if it changed the way it sounds. So we're gonna find out. Uh-oh. We're gonna find out after I go get the keys. Got the keys. I think it might be a little louder. Well, that's it. Now I ain't got to worry about dirt getting sucked up in there and mud. Supposed to go play tomorrow. Hopefully I can catch some footage of that. But, I don't know what the next project is. I want to do a little more fine-tuning and do some videos on that. A lot of guys are appreciating the JTech stuff, and it's understandable. There's nothing out there, so I've had to. There are people that do it. They're not giving away anything for free, though. And not that I'm the greatest at anything, but as I've stumbled through it and figuring out what to do or how to get around things, especially making it run with boost when it was never made to do that, I will share as much of that as I can as I figure it out. So, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.